Hello, this weapon here. Today I'm going to pick this challenge lock called Demon Core. It was made by HVLogic. It's nicely engraved, very suggestive of the name. We can see some nastiness in the pins. Here's HVLogic logo. You should go check his channel too. I have picked it only once, and I'm going to try to pick again. This is the key. It's covered. We don't need to see it right now. Let's put it in the vise and pick it. This will be the third time I tried to record this pick. The last two became too long and I think I overset something. So we are picking again. Pin 1 is the first to bind. It is fairly straightforward, although it does seem picked a couple times. I can still push it a little bit more. At this moment I will try to test something because I don't remember which of the pins had under milling. So I'm testing pin 1 and pin 2. Pin 2 was giving me a lot of trouble because I think I overset it once or twice and I didn't know if it should be picked or not. But I was pretty sure it was one of those with under milling, so probably I would only manage to pick it near the end. Pin 1 seems to have dropped again, making sure it's picked correctly. I spent a lot of time with pin 2. I was pretty sure it was the one with the milling, but I was a bit afraid I was wrong and didn't want to drop everything, so I went back and forth. Now I'm using a deeper hook for the 6th pin. I found that I should try to set it pretty early. It's a very hard pin to set. It's behind a very low cut. And with that I get a deeper false set. I think at this time pin 1 had dropped a little bit again, so I was checking pin 1 and also a bit of pin 2. It took me a little while to pick it correctly. I had a few problems with especially pin 2, but also later pin 3 and 5 especially. Had a little bit of problem. Read the feedback on some of the pins, but that only shows it's a very well made challenge lock. Pretty sure I was oversetting pin 2, so I had to drop a few pins again. Problem with having picked these ones is that I had a little idea of what I was trying to pick. I knew that there were at least two chambers with undermilling and probably some drivers with sort of a gin shape, but I was convinced it was chamber 2 and 4. Apparently I was wrong. Here I am checking on pin 6 again, just to make sure. Because I was wrong about the other chamber with undermilling. I was trying to avoid to pick pin 5 because it's a low cut and was afraid to overset it. Later I find out that it was actually pin 5 giving feedback suggesting there was a gene in milling, and that's when I successfully picked the lock. Went back to pin 2 and finally I seem to pick it correctly without oversetting. Now I'm checking for binders and checking the loose pins. In challenge locks, not all loose pins are picked pins. Have to check the feedback to see if there's any chance for a pin that needs picked. This is actually the first challenge lock I picked besides my own, so I was pretty happy to have picked it. And here I am ignoring the feedback and convinced I have to pick pin 4 as if it were stuck in a milling. With this I dropped a few pins, so I'm setting them again. Picking pin 4 again. Now this is when I notice maybe, just maybe, it's pin 5 that it's in the milling, and just like that I get an open. Now on to getting the lock. If you don't wish any spoilers on the guts of this lock or key, just turn the video off. Before gutting, I'm going to show you the key. Very nice pitting with those two low cuts that are no zero cuts. They need a bit of lifting and very difficult to set. works perfectly. I run into a few problems with the followers. I'm using the spiral set, but apparently the most fitting follower is too large to use with a shim. Despite that, I avoid a cutting disaster by using the shim as a follower. So we have some threading on chambers 1, 3, 4 and 6, and undercuts on 2 and 5. Now let's remove the drivers very slowly. You can see there are different springs for every chamber. These are really beautiful pins, very well made. Here are all the pins. Very beautifully made indeed. Here's the plug with the milling. And this was the dimmer core by HVLogic. Very fun challenge lock indeed. I really like picking it. I was going to show you the driver pins in the plug, but I noticed this on the top of the key pins. That is a fantastic detail on the top of the key pins and adds something special to the lock. Very nicely done, HV. When preparing a challenge lock, we need to know how the drivers will work with the pitting and with the milling. So I'm putting everything on a plug so you can see how they stand at rest. Very effective, especially those pins with the undercuts. So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.